Hello and welcome to the Elephant Podcast. And we are continuing with What's Your Magic with Christine Morris, who I am collaborating with on this, and we are continuing our conversation. So welcome, Christine. I'm so happy to be here still.
I know. It's been so long. It feels like, Io. I think we're ready for this conversation.
Right. So as I let everybody know that we had a long break, and the break was the break in my leg, and I'm in the process of healing that. And it's been a really interesting process because I was a dancer most of my life and took my body for granted. And I can't take anything for granted now.
Yeah.
I really have to work on being aligned in ways that I never had to think about. And it's a process. I just heard that the bone is fully healed, but the muscles would take longer to catch up.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so we're in the healing modality, which is an interesting process. And I think people all around the world are healing from many different aspects physical, mental, emotional, traumatic healing. It's we really need to do this for our own sakes, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of the earth.
I 100% agree. And I'm so glad that you're healing, right? And there's actually, I mean, to me, that seems kind of fast. I know it's been a couple months, but it seems like fast healing. And isn't it interesting how humbling midlife and beyond can be for us, especially those of us that have been very adept in the body, right?
Right.
I've had not the same as you, but I've had great competence in my body, whereas coming into midlife transition, like it really got out of whack. Very different than yours, but it made me appreciate the need to work with my body even more subtly, right? And listen more dynamically and not just be like, okay, we're going to do all the things and my body will just be able to do it. It's not that phase of life anymore.
No, it's not. And it's been interesting. I'm learning how to slow down, which is a miracle.
Well, and you know what? That is actually a key piece of trauma healing. Now you're slowing down for recovery, but in trauma healing, because I do have a background in trauma healing, that one of the key pieces is we need to slow down, and then we're actually reconnecting parts of our nervous system, but really parts of our brain too. But you spoke to how our culture and society, we need this healing too, right? And as we go, what we would call like to higher frequencies of consciousness or more unity based consciousness, as that energy starts to flow in our system stronger, it is going to activate these places of constriction or holding or stuckness from energy getting stuck in trauma. And most of society has lived from that survival based perspective or stage of life or state of life. And in order to move to unity consciousness, higher consciousness, love based consciousness, we have to balance or bring our system back into homeostasis before we can even reach those stages and states.
Right, exactly. And needless to say, I stay away from the news because that does not give you the calm you need to uh, heal the trauma of the body or whatever part of your yourself and your life it's affecting. Yeah, you need to, it's really an internal process.
Yes, and right for yours. So I was like, oh, okay, let me bring up some of these pieces. There's four main types of trauma that they talk about. Shock trauma, which yours would be considered a shock trauma. The fall and the break would be shock trauma. And then sometimes even getting treatment in the medical world can create trauma. And part of the challenge is like in I've heard this from multiple perspectives that the noises and the sounds in a hospital, the low rumbling sounds, they actually activate our reptilian brain. And it's like we need a whole new awareness of what is happening in our healing spaces. So shock trauma, medical trauma, and then there's complex trauma or like ongoing chronic traumatic stress, and then early childhood trauma. So those are the four main categories of trauma. And in order to work, it depends on which category it's in as to how we work with it.
Exactly. But I would kind of add past life trauma.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would call that soul trauma. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And especially for those that are working on that frothy edge of consciousness, that and especially women on that frothy edge of consciousness.
Yes, we have our we have plenty of that. um, so I had a memory of a past life in which I was a warrior, and there was all this wars going on, and I was in a battle, and I was wounded and thrown off my horse, and my leg had been cut off, the leg that I broke.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, this is an opportunity to reunite with that leg. And I have a very clear memory of because it was on a beach near an ocean and hearing the waves, the sound of the waves as the blood is leaving me, my body, and I'm leaving. And so I try to think of that as a healing, sorry, as a healing process with the ocean, which I find very healing, being at the ocean and hearing the waves come and go. It's like life keeps going, the energy keeps going. And we are spirit. We are infinite spirit, and there's no end to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to add, like when you said your past life, I had the image of beach and water, just so you know. I mean, of course. And, and what the yes to all of that, right? We are infinite, but parts of us, so there's the part of the soul that can't be wounded, which I would call higher soul, that's more closely connected with our higher self. And then there's the part of our soul that gets wounded, that parts of it literally get trapped in time and space.
Right.
And that's what happened in that. Well, you tell me if that feels true. What happened in that lifetime, part of you was still there, right? With the shock or whatever it is. And as you had that awareness and as you connected to that part of nature and the energy that connects us across time and space, it feels like you brought that part of you either home into your heart or home to source or wherever it went.
I have no doubt of that. I mean, why do I have such clear memory of that?
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, and in that time when I was a warrior, it was considered kind of ignoble to die with missing a limb. Like you did not want to lose a limb.
Oh, there's where things get stuck, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, carry on.
So there was this need to get my leg back.
Yeah.
I was leaving, you know, um, and I feel like this is the chance to, because I broke my femur, and that's basically the part that got cut. And it's like I'm really working with the consciousness of my leg.
Yeah.
Let's work together. It's time to reunite.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suspect that you're reuniting and bringing in those pieces that felt in whatever way like ostracized or separated and that they didn't belong, right? Like, oh, I did very simplification. I did a bad thing. I let my leg get cut off in warrior. Now I'm not, it's like not a clean death type of thing, right? And the part of trauma, it's not the event per se, it's how we experience the event and what's left with us. So clearly there was a piece left for you.
Right. And it's about making ourselves whole,
That's absolutely.
you know, and wanting to be whole on all levels.
That's right.
Mm.
Body, mind, emotion, and energy is how I talk about it. But energy is consciousness, and it can be the in body energy, or it could be the subtle energy that's around us and within us.
Right. And so I feel like this is like a real spiritual journey for me to kind of free myself from that and appreciate my leg, first of all.
Right? Yeah.
It's kind of shaking and
Okay. Is it doing that? Is it doing the shaking on its own?
yeah, I mean, when I put full weight on it, yeah.
Okay. And from a nervous system perspective, right? And it will be hard when you walk. That shaking is part of the energy that has gotten stuck in our system, the what we would call mobilization energy. And so some healing traditions talk about like trying to activate that shaking energy, but when it organically arises and the body has that trembling or quaking, sometimes it feels, it's actually really good to slow it down even more and let that quaking happen, let that shaking happen. That's gold in the trauma healing world.
Yeah, I mean, I can't push it,
Right.
push it. And it's, it's the way I'm relating to my leg. It's telling me, you
Yeah.
know, slow down.
Right. Self to self. I love it. Right. And the body has its own intelligence and wisdom, and it'll tell us if we listen. But
It does. The
you listen well to your body, but this is just next level.
right. I know.
Yeah.
All right, all right. I'm slowing down. I'm slowing down.
I know it. And one of the really beautiful things about slowing down, especially since the rest of the world, when I've been calling the world inflamed, right? There's just so much fire and so much energy in that way. And fire can be transformation, but it can also burn things down, right? And it's really a lot of sympathetic energy. Sympathetic energy runs hot. That's the fight. That's the flight. That's the like the declarations of war, all of that stuff. And when we slow down, we actually drop out of that vibration, and then we have more access to what we really want to connect to.
Right. And there There was one time I've been walking a mile a day just to really get those muscles going. And there was one day that's where the energy was very agitated.
Mhm.
And I found people like practically walking into me. And, at first my reaction is, yo,
Yeah.
hello.
I'm here.
But then I just like, okay, just send out love and send out love energy. And that seemed to actually work. People started going to the side and walking past me. But
That's wonderful. Yeah. And I love you introduced me to somebody that uses some kind of language about this. Like I'm welcoming a vibration of love. I'm welcoming, like we're welcoming it as much as we're sending it out. I love that.
right. And yeah, exactly. And that's the other part that I have to work on because, it was always, I have to go out and do this and this and this. And I had to like accept that one, I am capable of receiving love, which is, you know,
You're included in the circle, right?
circle. So it was, it's this whole experience is definitely teaching me so much about how we work with the energies. And,
I'm I don't want to interrupt. Keep going. I don't want to interrupt you.
but it's harmony. I mean, just love and harmony is all I'm thinking about now.
I mean, it's interesting too because um often when we're expanding into even greater harmony, greater love, greater sovereignty, right? Holding our own energy, we do get to drop down first. We get to drop down into the shadow. We get to drop down into the emptiness, the like what's missing kind of thing. And it's not conscious. It's not our like thinking brain that's like, oh, I've got to go do this thing. It's like some part of us helps us have an experience. Sometimes it's an experience that is helpful, and sometimes it's an experience that's not helpful, right? But if we're working consciously, we will get activated down into the shadow, into the roots, into the muck, into the lotus mud. And as a human being, if we can't just go up, or it's transcendent, it's only out. If we want embodied and we're bringing light and energy in, and more light and energy to this planet to ground it, to help create a society and vibration of love that is steady and held, we have to bring it in and ground it into the earth. And the only way we can do that is through the body, so imminent through the body. And we have to get roots first before we expand out.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I'm doing some rooting.
Oh, right. It's so fun.
And sometimes my feet feel like they have roots going through them, and I have to really pull my foot up.
Oh, so they get too rooted. Like you need a little bit more energy, right? And then bring in some of that water, and you can move it a little bit more.
And water definitely is my element.
Yeah.
Why I have my organization, World Water Hub. It's I'm inspired by the ambassador program with these young kids that are doing amazing things all over the world. And so yeah, I'm
Yeah, water, it's the healing force. It creates movement, it brings things together, it washes what's out what's not needed.
right. Exactly. It also carries, it's a form of energy and it carries energy and it carries our emotional expressions, etc. So it's quite amazing. I think a lot of I one of the projects I want to do is an animated film about what water really is. But okay, I
Is that edit that out?
yeah, stop doing this to-do list.
Oh, that's funny.
It just it's the brain. You got to stay
Yeah.
in the heart. Yeah.
Yep. And that is one of the things we have to continually drop our awareness down into our heart because our thinking brain thinks it needs to control all the things. And that honestly is a survival mechanism. The brain is super amazing at its tasks, but it really is not big. It's not enough big enough field. I mean, the heart math, like the heart field is much larger than the brain energy field, and it governs the physical and the subtle body.
Right. Yes, especially the subtle body.
Yep.
So tell me something about your own experiences with working through this kind
Of trauma.
trauma or, whichever level.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking when you were talking, so you're working a little bit more in the shock trauma genre. I'm working right now. My strong one is so fun. I'm working what they call attachment wounds, like that come from family of origin, right? And some of our traumas, like the shock trauma, we can just work with the event. But if it's trauma that's created through relationship, we need the co-regulation of another person to help our system help us find the developmental expressions and the landing of the nervous system that may never have happened. And one of the things that's super amazing, and so I'm working with that with my family of origin, and that's not fun. And what I'm noticing because a lot of times nervous systems and emotions are contagious, right? And our families of origin have these unspoken agreements, which are really energy fields that are set up, unspoken agreements of what our beliefs are, how we act, what we do, that kind of thing. And as we work with our sovereignty and agency and spiritual development, we are releasing the conditions and the ideals that were put upon us that don't fit. And so with this experience, what is so interesting is actually having the felt sense of not being hooked in to another nervous system that really tries to hook me in. And so I actually get my authentic response. I get my nervous system back to myself, right? My energy is within myself. And this is a big challenge for healers because often we have, and especially if we're empathetic and empathic, we have a lot of times literally left our fields or been so hyper aware outside of our physical body. Yes, we're sensitive. Yes, we feel all the things, but also if the environment wasn't safe, we had to be hyper vigilant about all the things like what's the temperature of that person's mood, what's happening over there, right? All of these subtle pieces. And we're not here in our system. We're actually outside of our system. So we've abandoned ourselves. So part of the attachment piece is holding up. Well, it depends on what your style is, but part of it is finding ways to hold on to yourself, both literally. So it might be like giving ourselves the nurturing that we didn't get. But it also might be like, no, I'm pulling my energy here. I'm leaning back in my chair and I'm here and I feel myself here. And you're over there, not you, because you're good. you know, and the separation with that. And it's really interesting. And I relate this to the climate that we're in right now. if we don't have an awareness of what's happening in our nervous system literally gets pulled around and and influenced, and we think it's our idea. We think this is how we feel about things, but we've really just been manipulated in a way.
Right.
Because one of the things they talk about nervous system work, when you're regulated, when your system is in homeostasis, it's in a calm, connective state. So social engagement, it's a one of the most powerful, and often it can say, people say it is the most powerful influence in any room, unless somebody's super hyper activated in fight energy. Then that's because there's a lot of fear there. That's going to activate. However much fear is in our system is going to be pinged by this fear outside here.
Right.
But if somebody has calm, settled, that's the vibration that people, that's what systems really want to tune into. That's our natural state. And so I'm noticing how much influence that calm, settled state can have on a vibrational level for people around. And that to me is how we heal the planet. We cannot get to higher consciousness until we're right at that place where we're working with survival energy on a mass scale.
Right. Exactly. And I know that, like, when I decided to, when all these people were bumping into me or whatever, when I uh, just sent out love from my heart, that was my centering. That was going, pulling myself back instead of reacting to
Yeah. Yeah.
what was happening there, like just sending out. And I think that people felt that.
Well, and you saw a difference. You saw a difference right after, right? And that there's something in the field, right, that's recognized before it's in the thinking, the awareness consciousness, right?
Yeah. And I know that I really, I mean, I like being in that calm state for sure. And my family, the family I came from, everything was high drama, very high drama about this smallest thing.
Yep.
It was crazy.
Yep.
uh, you know,
And one of the things they talk about in nervous system, I love this hand. It's a hand brain. So think of this as the brain stem, and the brain stem is our autonomic nervous system. It is below our thinking brain. It is what controls our breathing and our heart rate, but also digestion and some other processes. But all of it is below our thinking brain. Our thinking cortex doesn't decide what happens down here. And then my thumb, I want you to just imagine that's our emotional brain, right? Which could be going into fear or it could be going into love, and then everything in between. And then my fingers are the neocortex, the most recently developed part of our brain, our thinking brain, our rational brain with prefrontal cortex and those type of things. The thing that's super interesting, it's called neuroception. So when our body perceives a threat, it's not our thinking brain. It could be like we don't really perceive it, but something happens. It could be a little bit of our thinking brain goes offline, or our whole thinking brain goes offline. And then we might get very emotional. Or if everything happens, we flip our whole lid and we're down in our reptilian responses. And it's lightning fast. The neuroception is the term coined by Stephen Porges, and it happens below consciousness, and our body responds faster. So that's why being aware of our sensations can be as important of what emotion that we're in. Like, what's our physical response? Because we want those three parts of the brain to be connected, and trauma disconnects part of it. Like whether it's even movement is down here in the autonomic system. So even with leg injury, right, we need to connect movement back up with thinking brain.
yeah. And I find that I'm hypersensitive to sounds now.
Oh, after that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even I mean, if you walk by, uh, children's playground, kids are always screaming. ah.
So is it the really like high pitched stuff? Is that what's bothering your system, or is it all of it?
Yeah, I mean, it distracts me, and I want to make sure somebody's not actually hurt or.
Little bit of high alert, right? And that high pitched, that's going to trigger our system. And when women sometimes do this, like I have a family member that she'll be talking and she'll go, you know, she'll get up in this high decibel, and that actually is threat. That actually, those high decibels and the super low decibels, both of them, our body responds to as like, oh wait, there's a threat out there, because like a high pitched scream or something like that, right? Yeah. Um, I don't think we should work with it right here, but I think I can help you with that. It's good because that's part of the vagus nerve, and one of the nerves that's connected to the vagus nerve within our
Yeah.
auditory system. Yep. I mean, we could do a little thing right here if you want to. It just is gently holding your ears, or we could take it another direction.
Sure. I mean, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, let's do a little bit for the ears. All we do is, so the earlobe, we're just going to bring our hands in a little bit and pull down. Don't hurt yourself, but pull down enough that you can hear. I mean, you can feel that. And
Right.
just notice if you get a deep breath with this, a deep inhale. It's okay if you don't, but you're just seeing what comes naturally. Yeah, good. You might get swallows, you might get yawns. And then when you're ready, just find other parts on your ear and pull out. So you're just activating your ears, kind of giving it a little activation, pulling it gently, just kind of waking up the ears and even up into. So not everybody has a curve like I have in my ear. Like if you can get in there and just gently like I know it's kind of weird, and then just do little circles. Yep, both directions. Yeah. And then when you're ready, let that go and then gently cup your ears. Gently. And just give yourself a moment. It's harder to hear here. Yeah. And just see how that feels. Good. And then the next thing, I'm not going to have us cover our eyes. I'm just going to have us hold our face, like just like you would cradle a child's face, like holding them, giving them comfort. It might feel weird. It might feel really good. And then while you're here, whether your eyes are open or closed, I want you to see if you can, it's letting our eyes drop back in their sockets, like they're held in hammocks. And you might even feel that in the back of your head. And then when you feel ready, I know this can actually bring our system really down in a good way. When you're ready, just let that go, but stay as long as you like. And then just take a moment to look around your room. And this is for everybody that's watching, doing these things. Look around your room and find a couple of things that look like you like what they look like, the color or the shape, or I have a little statue over there that I really like. So you can actually feel in your body the response to what we're looking at. And as we let our head and neck turn and our eyes follow, we're activating our biology, our physiology of social engagement, which brings us back up into love and curiosity and safety, or relative safety, because the world is wild. And when we come back, like some folks watching this, they might have gotten the deep inhales. They might get these little burps. That means that we're connected up and down to our enteric nervous system, our gut. We might start to yawn. Some folks start to yawn. It really just depends. But those are signals that our vagus nerve is bringing us back into rest and recover, rest and digest, and social engagement.
Yeah.
Could you feel anything with that?
Yeah. I mean, with this, I felt this wave of energy going, kind of like.
I love that. Good, right? Because that's some things move. That's energy moving. That's things shifting. Yeah,
And
lovely.
I urge to do this, but
That actually is part of it, but I was just trying to not take as much time. So usually after ears, it does go right to eyes. So that's a great, like your system was asking for like the naturalness to it. That's what I love about the approach to trauma. They call it a neurobiological approach to trauma and trauma healing that I work with, because it's not forcing anything onto our system. It's letting our natural healing abilities come back up and balance our system.
right.
Excuse me. I think we're having a little activation. Yeah, I'll name that after.
So that was great. And yeah, I actually feel it in my heart too, but like my heart is kind of dancing.
Oh, so then, yeah, then give a little, because our heart is connected to our vagus nerve too. And whenever our vagus nerve starts to activate, it is going to activate into our heart and it maybe even to our gut. So just give our heart a little comfort, a little, right? A little love. And then should it feel right, keep one hand on heart and bring other one to belly, or you could bring it back up to, and hold the base of your head. So just see which one feels more appropriate. Yeah. And so now we're reconnecting systems. Yeah. How does that feel?
It feels great.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that again.
Yeah.
So thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So if I'm in the street and hearing like a couple of guys having a fight or whatever,
Mhm.
I immediately like get defensive, protective. So if I do the ear thing, would that help to release it?
I mean, it's an interesting thing. Like I would say, see what happens, right? Direct experience is the best teacher. And because so we're at a really interesting time because we do need some of these protective, and this is natural protective, like you can feel the bracing and the armoring up that happens, right? um we're not at a place where everybody is in agreement that we're going to work from a center of love. So I I want folks to be aware and use their protective responses. And then like so let the body do the thing because that's our primal responses. It's like what a panther would do in the wild. We want that. And then because that creates boundaries. But then when we drop our awareness into our heart and then we can actually call on our heart of love or our being of love, or even protectors from outside that we just feel it could be imagination, but some people do work with subtle energy protectors. And so if we imagine a being that's strong with us, our system is going to feel different than when it's alone, right? And it can be a being of love. It doesn't have to be a fighter. It can be a being of love, or it can be our deep heart where we know that center of love and it's big and it's strong and it's holding us. So our physical human primal self isn't alone with this.
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of the way I've been thinking of trying to figure out how to work with that. I mean, that's felt like that's what I need to do. But there is so much fear and anger everywhere.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've started doing is in terms of that dropping into my heart in public, like even when I go to the market, I'll connect into my heart space, into that part of me that is connected through there. And then I will ask for my energy or love energy, whatever one I'm feeling stronger, through what I would call my pelvis, my physical center, my emotional center, and then my belief center. So all of my lower chakras and energy. And it could just be, people don't have to believe in chakras for this, but just be like, my energy is in my body. I am here and it's stable and strong. So I'm not like empty when I go out into public. Does that make sense?
Right. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's what, especially when I'm going shopping, that's what I really focus on, because shopping entails dealing with money, which is freaking people out now
Right.
because things are kind of feel like they're falling apart. And um, I mean, there's always going to be economy, and we're always going to figure out how to manage it. But it's still pretty scary for a lot of people.
Yep. And it activates those survival responses, right? And if folks haven't worked with those survival responses, they're not even going to know that they're flashing into anger or fear or whatever the thing is, right? And I think that's why it's so important to really have a practice of dropping into our heart, of actually asking that heart energy to be present in our whole body, because we become a resonant field for other nervous systems, even if they're afraid at the market, the person in front of me and behind me, that's getting my vibe no matter what. Like they can't help it. Right. And I'm like, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to radiate my unique essence in connection with love. And like, I'm buying walnuts.
Exactly. So, yeah, the whole issue of how much we need to heal in this world, it's if you have your to-do list and you start thinking about, oh my God, I'm supposed to do this and this and this and this. That's it sounds great, but I think that doing it, doing everything with within ourselves, that we create it within ourselves, and that will attract people and will affect people around us.
Absolutely. And one of the things that may be hard for people if they're feeling activated just meaning that there's something triggered fear or threat in some way, shape, or form. And it may be hard to remember what love feels like, right? Or even if we drop our awareness down to our heart, be like, yeah, okay, what do I do with that? So if we think of something that we know creates a feeling experience of love, like a sunset or our pet or our loved one, right? If we think of that, then we notice that we actually feel love. And then whenever we feel love and pay more attention to it, it amplifies. I mean, just like everything, if you pay attention to a lot of fear, we need to be aware of fear. And fear is a natural part of being human. But then how do we get back to love, right? So love and this would be called resources. This is really the antidote for trauma. So we need to be able to touch into love and connection and curiosity and awe. And sometimes we need another system to do it, but sometimes we have the ability to do it. So co-regulation, like pinging and vibrating with another system, that is available as newborns, whereas self-regulation is learned, which not by everybody, but it is something that can be learned. But it's not even available to us first. The first thing that humans do is they learn to resonate with another. And it may be resonating in fear or it's resonating in love, but we are still vibrating together.
Yeah. So I noticed that, as you said, in the hospital, you have this you don't really feel safe.
Right. Right. You really, I mean, and I think the hospital staff, for the most part, they are dedicated, right? They're in it because they care and they want to help people, but it's just that we don't know about all of these unconscious responses to threat.
Right. And especially, I mean, if you're in a room with somebody else who is going through their own fear thing, and so that fills the room, and you're in your own fear about your state of being into your health and your well-being. It's a challenge.
It's a big challenge, right? And that's where we actually need another person to help stabilize our system. So it could be a nurse that comes in and is like, you're okay, you'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like the people that come in and assist us to remember that, right?
Right,
Because we don't really know.
right, exactly. I mean, when I started PT, I just wasn't sure. I mean, my leg is connected with to itself with a pin and some screws. That didn't sound very safe to me.
Right. Right.
And, I was afraid, well, if I move this way and if I can feel this, am I doing something to the pin or the screws?
And your PT was able to reassure you?
Well, I mean, they said no restriction to movement. I wasn't convinced of that.
Right, because it'll be, I mean, they may or may not have had a sensitive that was so in tune and sensitive that can feel that deeply inside, because a lot of folks can't feel that.
Um, but interesting because I had to work through my fears of what I was doing to my leg while I'm really consciously trying to reunite with my leg.
Right.
But I always, when before this happened, I always closed my bedroom door. And that was a fear thing. That was a protection. This is my sacred space. I'm keeping out anything that's not part of that. I don't need to close that door anymore.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah. Good
I,
work.
I just, I don't know what work I was doing, but uh,
But something changed.
something changed. I don't have that fear. I don't have the fear of somebody breaking in, which I've had two experiences with people breaking in to my apartment, different apartments, but still
Yeah.
fear is gone.
That's
I,
so amazing, right? And this is where they talk about an echo of trauma, whether it's through this lifetime or past lifetimes, right? So we have like the core thing that creates the trauma, and if it's through a past life, if it's over lifetimes and we don't resolve it, it echoes
I,
through lifetimes, but we can still work with it from the physical of wherever we are, which you were a beautiful example of. Thank you, Io.
yeah, I think the memory of that past life actually helped.
Yeah.
Um,
It's probably the origin of a lot of fear.
right. So I still have a memory of how peaceful that was, a peaceful passing, even though my leg was cut off, um,
What
because ocean was there. And
the ocean was there, and this is the benevolent piece of physical bodies, is that when there is imminent death or possible death, our system goes into what they call shutdown, freeze, and then complete shutdown. So barely anything is online. And so many endorphins, which are our natural painkillers, are flooding our system. So even if it's a shock, trauma, death, which I suspect that was, like you're just feeling the peacefulness of it, right? And that's actually, isn't that such a benevolent piece of
Yeah.
this crazy physiology? I think it's so amazing.
Yeah. And I remember some friends who were really working with the terror that so many people felt on 9/11.
Yeah.
And they did ceremonies to help release that fear of it. And then they went to what's the military graveyard?
Oh, the Arlington one? No, I don't. Yeah.
They went to Arlington to do ceremonies there because there were soldiers buried there from the um,
Was it Civil War there? Or was it starting in the World Wars? Yeah.
the Civil War, and so that's a long time, Earth time.
Right. Right.
Plus, there's infinity time, which is not time, but
Exactly.
it's like the feeling was there. There's some that are still stuck with what they went through. And so they did this ceremony to help free them from the trauma of that.
That's amazing because the fear and the terror gets stuck with the event and then it gets stuck in the system because it's too scary. It overwhelms the system and it shuts it down. And so, do really, in trauma healing, we literally are peeling fear away little by little, not all at once, from the event because some people could have the same event and not have trauma. Some people would have trauma, some people wouldn't, because it's the way that the body responds to it, but really is all about fear and what level of fear and what level of terror and overwhelm happens to the system.
Right. Yeah.
It's so much.
It's a lot. Especially when I mean, I have seen repeated patterns in my past lives, and certainly with my mother, the relationship with my mother definitely had repeated patterns. And once I saw that, I was able to release the part of our relationship that was kind of holding me.
Yeah. Yeah, because it does, like once we can pull back and see the pattern, then we're not as pulled in and pulled around by the pattern, by the energy, because we can step back. And then we have what they call the observer online, right? So we're not all forward in our physiological responses. We have a little bit more room in our system.
Exactly. And when I reached that, I was able to actually um, have a humorous conversation with her.
Oh, congratulations. That's like she was alive too, but everybody on this side of the veil.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I mean, for a couple of years, I didn't talk with her. And when I was in Bhutan, the Lama said, well, you're going to have to talk to your mother.
When the Lama tells you, you know you have to do it.
Wow. Um, so the next time I saw him, I said, thank you. I did talk with my mother. He couldn't believe it.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I mean, and it's interesting. Yeah, mothers, right? And I was thinking about like with your leg, I suspect you tell me like there was some kind of mothering quality you brought to that experience, right? Would you say that that's true? Like holding the leg, holding part of you, right? There's
Right.
this nurturing that comes on, whether it could be father too, but usually it's the mother that does the main nurturing.
Well, it was my father, actually.
Wow. So he came and assisted you.
um, oh,
Oh, in
he
your lifetime, he was the nurturer.
he was definitely the nurturer.
Yeah.
My mother had a hard time with that.
Right. Right. So, right. So interesting. But from that, then you got the qualities that you needed to nurture and work with your children.
Right. Well, I don't know what my older daughter, what her issue is.
The oldest ones they're not, I'm not going to say they're the practice kids, but they're the ones that get most of our unhealed stuff. It just is, there's no way around it. And when we have kids, it activates, like we're coming at things from a parent and like, yes, we're responsible. We have to do all the things. But anything that's left over from our childhood is getting pinged when they're doing the thing. So we got double activation.
Right.
No joke.
No. Yeah, it's not a joke.
It is a whole situation.
Right, exactly. So, what what can we leave? I mean, we're calling this series "What's Your Magic?"
Yep. I I mean, I want to hear what you say. You okay if I jump in?
Go ahead, please.
I think part of the magic, especially for all humans, but everybody's going to be unique in the way they do it. Like, how do we soothe ourselves? Like, getting our system soothed and calm is not a bad thing. Like, empathy has got a bad rap out in the world. Like, empathy is our superpower, sensitivity is our superpower. But we have to find the things that actually soothe us and calm us so we can actually get into that connection, that love, that belonging state, right? And when we find that, then our uniqueness comes through.
Right.
So the getting the nervous system, getting our emotional system, getting our thinking brain, getting all of that talking and into a state of homeostasis, right? And we may need help for that. I mean, we're learning about trauma healing on a mass scale right now. And so it's really like the worlds I travel in, like it feels like it's like, oh, everybody's doing it. No. And so as we settle our nervous system, it's actually one of the strongest and best healing influences we can have on the planet, but it also is where we get to be in tune with our unique way that we express and create. We really can't create until we're in relative safety. We can't create
Right.
authentically until we're in relative safety. And we really can't offer it to somebody else until we're in relative safety.
Speaking of creating, I was really looking forward to getting back to my novel, and I'm having a hard time getting to it because I know that I need to, the leg issue needs to be dealt with and everything around it.
Right. It's tricky because I've had points of that in the past 5 years. The pandemic actually shut my system down strongly, which I didn't recognize for a couple years after it. But I kept looking at sunsets and being like, I should really feel that as beautiful. I was like, it is a beautiful sunset. And it would be very cerebral, like, oh, yeah, I know but I couldn't feel it. And I was so used to feeling everything. Right. And so it just took giving my system time to calm down. And we can, if it's something that folks want, we can create a couple series of what to do, like practices, because that's really what we need is practices. We can't think our nervous system out of survival responses.
I wish we could.
I know, it would be so much easier.
Anyway, it's been wonderful talking with you, and um, thank you so much. And I really enjoy working with the ear and vagus nerve, and
Yeah. And do that daily, right? I do like energy, clear nervous system stuff and energy stuff daily. It's like brushing our teeth. There's so much coming in.
exactly. And, I'm trying to uh, not do things before I go to bed. I'm,
Yeah.
that sounds kind of funny, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Winding the brain down.
winding down and, you know, letting spirit come through me while I'm sleeping. And that's such an important part of the healing process.
Yeah, that is key. I'm
Right.
glad I'm glad you're getting that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finally sleeping.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah. And that's necessary for healing. Like all of these things are intertwined. Yeah, I love this conversation, Io. Thank you.
and to our audience, we want to ask you, what's your magic? And go into your heart and find it. That's why you're here, to bring your magic to us, to the earth.
And it can be very small, it can be very big. It doesn't matter. Everybody's is unique, and there's no one way to express that's better than the other.
Right. So thank you, Christine.
You're
Thank
welcome.
I
Until
love
next time.
Till next time.